Yo, man, y'all gonna stop hating
Wait,
on
is
my
it
intro music.
No, is this gonna be a new thing every week?
What do you mean? I've been doing this since day one, bro. Since I resurrected from the dead on this podcast.
You've been going a little more alien the last few weeks. You were on Earth for the first few.
I hate y'all, man. If you haven't known, or if you don't know, this is the Back of the Class podcast. I am surrounded by haters right now. I am the Esteban Serrano.
Juan.
I'm Zach.
And we are here to talk about the hip-hops.
Some hip-hop.
Yeah, man. We got a great episode for you guys today. We got to talk about, of course, R.I.P. Phife Dawg of the legendary Tribe Called Quest. He passed away this morning.
We're taping Wednesday.
Yeah, we're taping
last
Wednesday.
night or this morning.
So it was either last night or this morning. We want to talk about some of the ladies in hip hop. There's been some current news going on, but like there's some way deeper conversations to be had about the role that they play and the music that they're presenting as of late and throughout time. It's the 20th anniversary of Resident Evil, so we definitely got to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the Flex Zone, we're going to talk about movies and if they're overhyped, if the hype is done right, how does it make you feel, you know, things of that nature. But if you've been a fan of the Back of the Class podcast, make sure you show us your love by rating and subscribing to us on iTunes. If you ever want to jump into the conversation, hit us up at the hashtag Back of the Class.
Word.
And without further ado, we got to show nothing but the utmost love and respect for one of my favorite, most entertaining, wittiest MCs ever, man, Phife of the legendary Tribe Called Quest. Yo, no one had the iller one-liners back in the day than Phife, man. He was magic on the mic, dude.
Yeah, and without him, that group, I mean, who knows?
Right.
They'd probably be popular, but without, he was like a huge piece of that puzzle.
Right.
Just doing something really new.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that group, I'm being from Queens, that's a big chunk of my childhood listening to hip hop. So that's a big hit for most of us here in New York.
Yeah, and only 45. And we were talking about coming into this show. It's like there's been so many people dying already this year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest lesson that we can take from this is that you have to be conscious, man, of your health. You have to definitely do all that you can to ensure that you're, you know, treating your body right. I was talking to the OG Mike B, who's a stylist in this game forever, and he was talking about, you know, just about how us in this industry, we don't take care of ourselves. We don't get the proper sleep. We don't eat right. Sometimes we're on the road. We're traveling. You know, we're out at all these crazy events. There's, you know, a lot of things abundantly available to us, but they aren't always necessarily the right things.
Yeah. They're often not. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Being a
More
musician's
often
hard, whether you're hip hop or
and it's not just
rock or
and
a
it's not
roadie
just this industry. Like what we do, production, what Zach does, writing. Like you have deadlines, you have stories that pop up out of nowhere, not at the most opportune times, and you have a duty, you know, to your job. So I think it resonates with everybody, not only, you know, artists and the music.
And it's also just hitting home too, because not only have some people died this year, but anniversaries of every kind are so prevalent now, and they're always on our mind. I mean, we were talking about Biggie, I think, last week, and it's like every time a death anniversary comes up now, we are reminded. So it's not just we're reminded every year of people that we lost, and then people are dying now too, and so it's heavy stuff. But I wanted to share one nice thing. His manager, DJ Rasta Root, shared this. He said, "While I mourn the loss of my best friend and brother, I also will celebrate his incredible life and contribution to many people's ears across the world. Even with all his success, I've never met a person as humble as he. He taught me that maintaining a positive attitude and outlook can conquer anything." That sounds like Tribe Called Quest. And now my brother is resting in greatness. I'm honored to have crossed paths with him. Rhythm Kids forever. So,
word.
Yeah, a lot of cool sentiments have been like shared today. My favorite one today was like even the New York Mets, like Facebook and Twitter, shouted him out and had a really nice, you know, not piece, but a little caption of like, we lost one of our own, and it's a picture of him rocking his Mets hat because he's from Queens. So that was super cool, and a lot of like other artists are like coming out with really nice things to say. So I mean, if there is a positive that we get out of these unfortunate situations, is people come together and share like really cool memories and stuff like that. Like I know this is later in the podcast, but I'm bumping Tribe for the rest of the week and into the weekend because.
You have to.
Like I was telling you listen to Electric Relaxation. I was like, that's not even one of the best Tribe songs. That's like one of the best hip hop songs like ever created.
Oh yeah, man.
Which one you burned through that title? Which song?
Electric Relaxation.
Electric Relaxation, yeah. Like that. Him and Tip going back and forth, having a conversation is with the detail and the storytelling and the fucking punchlines. It's fucking magical.
When I was listening back a little this morning, for the first time, I heard a real direct through line from him to Chance the Rapper, which is pretty cool.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I could hear it. Listen back and think about it a little bit.
Huh?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Word. Well, R.I.P. Phife Dawg. We appreciate your contributions. We love you. God bless.
Okay, so Azealia Banks back at it, I guess.
She's just being herself, man.
She's
a
never
consistent,
not at it.
consistent.
I'm convinced. I'm
Twitter bully.
She left Twitter, and I knew it wasn't going to change anything because I follow her on Instagram, and she doesn't post as much there, but she's still herself there.
Right.
And the latest thing is last week, Iggy. Yeah. Oh God, gonna get the Azaleas and the Azaleas mixed up here. Iggy Azalea last week was saying she, in the peak of like Iggy hate season, was contemplating suicide sometimes, and she said sometimes I'd drive through the canyons to get my horses, and I'd be like, what if I just kept driving off the canyon? And Azealia Banks on the Shade Room's Instagram commented and said, "Yeah, slave master, drive that slave truck right off the canyon."
Wow.
Oof.
That's
man.
And it's not the first time. I mean, their names are similar. They've
been at odds for years now.
Their names are similar. They are two of the most talked about female rappers out there.
Agreed.
And just rappers period to make headlines wise. And
here's my thing with Azealia. I don't know if I don't know if she is just off her rocker completely, or she's smart enough that she knows when she says outrageous shit like this, when she gets fight on airplanes, when she fights people in her audience at her shows. If she knows these things create controversy, in part keep her name in
on the tip of our tongues,
on the internet, on the tip of our tongues, exactly. Or if she's just really that out there where she just doesn't give a fuck. And because for you to tell someone that they should commit suicide when they're just pouring their heart out about how bad it was for them at some point, like, not only is it low and irreprehensible, but it just makes you look like the biggest piece of shit in the world.
Right.
I
mean, like, look, there's this misconception, man, in hip hop, especially in hip hop, that no press is bad press. And that's not the case.
I think that's media, period, dude. I don't think it's just hip
hop. Well, I know for hip hop, I mean, you go to jail, that's a badge of honor. There's a lot of things that, are real backwards in the hip hop culture. But with her in particular, man, like, I feel like she is like one of the biggest cyber bullies that you can have on the planet. And I mean, all of her press for the things that are not music related really overshadows the fact that she's actually a talented artist.
That's where I'm always coming from in this conversation, which is like, the first time I saw that 212 video, like, my life changed a little bit,
Word.
And she took quite a long time to put out this 4-song EP, and I liked that quite a bit. And then she put out this fantasy mixtape, sea as in like ocean. It was really dope. And I've been on board with her musically since, because I think she's like a one-of-a-kind talent. Like, I don't think of anybody when I listen to her. And she really likes kind of house beats and more electronic tinted stuff.
Right.
But she does like rapping. She does like singing. She's very hard to categorize. Rap. She can fucking rap her ass off. I saw her at Terminal 5 in December. She canceled pretty much all her shows, but she kept this one show, hometown show. She's a Harlem kid. And it was so good. And she didn't talk at all between songs. So I don't think I don't know if any artist likes to be known for like being shitty and gossipy stuff, you know.
Right.
Nicki Minaj walked out on a New York Times reporter last year because she very delicately tried to ask, like, do you like courting drama? And she was just like, fuck this. Like, why would I ever like that? And she just pieced out for a huge cover story.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
That's not even but that's a viable question though.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, we always do think about it, and we think about it with Kanye. We wonder, you know.
Well, we know Kanye does it. Like, we know that he kicks shit up just to get, like, you know, the press. You know what I mean? I don't do no press, but I get the most press kid. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm working with Kanye. I know. Like, you know, I've been in times. There was a time at TRL where right after his Grammy party, Suge Knight got shot at Kanye's Grammy party. And he was on TRL the next day. We asked him a question. His people told us not to ask. That never got communicated to our host.
Oh.
Live on television, he's like, hey, so is everything cool with the Suge Knight thing? And then Kanye lost his mind. And then when the cameras went down, the host was like, hey, man, no one ever communicated to me not to ask, and I'm sorry. And Kanye straight up was like, oh, no, it's all good. It made for a great Kanye moment.
That's what he said?
Wow. That's his exact where I was standing right there. Oh, no, man, it's all good. It made for a great Kanye moment. Yeah. And he walked away. He knew that was going to. But there's a difference between capitalizing on something. Like with Kanye, it was about him kind of standing up for himself. With Azealia Banks, it's just like, you can be so far removed from the conversation to jump in it when it ain't got nothing to do with you. And that's been happening on many occasions. It's like, to your point, Juan, I just think she's batshit. I really do. And I've always said, like, there's certain artists who should not ever be allowed to communicate anything if it's not in song.
No, that's I agree 100%.
And she's one of them.
Like, my point is, there's people who use the drama in a certain way. Like, there's rappers who their foundation of their career, like 50 Cent, got famous because How to Rob, and he was talking shit about every rapper in the industry.
It was constructive,
exactly,
and it was a joke.
And he was saying shit like, almost, like he was just saying
a Rob pun without a gun.
Yeah, like all that kind of shit. But
weigh 400 pounds. How you gonna catch me, son?
Yeah, exactly.
Good point.
And Eminem, when he first started out, he was like feuding with all the pop, and that shit kept his name in the fucking on the surface of all the media stuff. So it's not nothing new, but you could differentiate that from just some shit where she's saying it from a mean spirited place, because who else would say some shit like that, given the history they have, and it makes her look petty and very hateful towards Iggy's, whether she deserves it or not, her success, because of the beef they had. Right. And that's my thing. And I think that just makes her, as good as she is as a rapper, which I agree, she is a good rapper, not just for a female, she is a good rapper. Yeah. But all that, to me, that stuff overshadows all that. And especially this last thing is kind of like, because I know about depression and, that kind of shit. So whether, like, I don't know Iggy from anything. That could be bullshit, and she's just saying that to get sympathy. But I hope not.
It seemed like it kind of just came tumbling out of her.
Yeah. Right. So, but, for you to just say that is just, that overshadows any talent or any...
Yeah, and some of the stuff she said, too, and about gay people are really just... Some of the things are really inexcusable, but I also think she does touch on some things that need to be talked about. And I think I can't accept, like, her just being batshit, quote unquote, because I think a lot of this comes from having that level of talent that's so visible to us, and having she just can't, like, get started in this industry. And I think it must be, I don't know, like, what that would do to my head to be in the position where she's in, where she can't get it going, and I think there's forces working against her, and I think she's a force working against herself.
Definitely
too.
Very self-inflicted.
100% agree with that.
But I think there are definitely outside forces working against her where it's like.
You think it's coming out of a place of frustration of what you just mentioned?
Yeah, I just think like there should be way more popular and like highly visible female rappers in this game, and there's a reason that there aren't.
Right.
You know, there's a real like there can only be one mentality, and there often is only one.
Right.
And that must be so frustrating. And like she doesn't really like Nicki Minaj, I don't think, and she wants to see a different type of figure up there, and like she'd love to be it. But yeah, I just think I think she's struggling with a lot of stuff. I think it's very complex and hard to work out from where we're sitting, but I think that's as good a way as any to get into talking about the bigger picture.
I mean, you bring up a good point. It's like, why don't we hear more about, you know, the projects that Azealia Banks has dropped, or why don't we hear more about just, you know, the great, you know, women that we have behind the mic right now? We only hear about them when they're beefing with each other. Like that,
or they're in the news, or they're in Love and Hip Hop,
right? Or it's just something stupid. So like that's why I kind of wanted to have this kind of bigger conversation, because what I found in my personal listening pattern and habits is that I've been listening to a lot more of, you know, the women that we have representing in hip hop now than I've been even listening to the guys. Like, of course, I've been keeping up with what's going on, but when I actually choose to listen to something or play something because I want to hear it, not because I have to be listening to it to, you know, have an opinion or kind of be up on the pulse of what's going on, I'm listening to a lot of dope, you know, women. So it got me to thinking about like just the position that, you know, that these women have always played in hip hop. Like early on, you weren't a legit hip hop crew if you didn't have a dope chick on the mic. Like, I mean, and we can go back through the history of, you know, Queen Latifah and Moni Love and Native Tongues and Miss Melody and BDP, Mia X and No Limit, Little Kim, Junior Mafia, you know, I mean, Eve with the Rough Riders, Lauryn Hill with the Fugees, Foxy and the Firm, you know, whatever. Lady of Rage and Yo-Yo with Lynch Mob and Death Row. Like, the history is there. Trina, you know, with Slip and Slide. Like, you had to have one.
Did
like,
Wu-Tang
there had
have someone hanging around?
They didn't. They had a lot of
dude, they had
singers.
9 already. I don't think they could have squeezed
They
one
had a
more
lot
in
of
there.
singers, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of their
your point is totally fair. I just was trying to think Wu-Tang. Nah,
right. But that was the thing. Like, that was like the ultimate, like, you know, like you got all these rough dudes or these dudes who are super macho and masculine, but then you always had that perspective represented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
very important.
Rightfully so.
And, you know, and you know, thank God for, like, a Nicki Minaj who's been holding it down as of late. And I think she's probably gotten the most respect beside, like, a Lauryn Hill for actually being, like, one of the top MCs of the time, you know, when she was out. But it's just like, yo, like, they can't catch a break, it seems like, for just their musical prowess. Like, how dope some of these, you know, this music is.
I think one of the biggest, not problems, but the biggest issues is everything is always from a point of view of, oh, she's good for like for a woman rapper, she's dope, and that should like it should just be she's a good rapper, period. Like, you know, Rhapsody's not just she's not dope because you know, she's a dope rapper for a woman. Like, nah, she's fucking dope as a rapper, period.
Her mind is
like, you know,
she's amazing.
Like and then to say like she's better than some dude rappers out there. Like, that's just the truth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's one of the first things that people need to get out of their head is like whether you're good. Like, we got rid of the whole white rapper shit. Like, M was not dope because he was like, oh, he's good for a white rapper. Like, he's just fucking dope. And I think by extension it should be the same for women. Like, you should just be a dope rapper.
And I also think it's the whole machismo of hip hop. Like, I feel like a lot of rap fans feel kind of like emasculated when they're listening to a female.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you like, oh, you know, that album is for the girls because it's a girl rapping. But it's like, that doesn't make any sense. If what they're saying is dope, it's dope.
Yeah.
Or the fact that, you know, women can often, you know, would speak from a woman's point of view and be rapping, you know, for women sometimes. And it doesn't mean you can't listen to it as a guy.
You're not going to grow boobs just from listening to some dope stuff.
It's just narrow. It's narrow-mindedness. Honestly.
That's what it is.
And a double standard that
Word.
needs to fucking.
But fortunately, you know, rap blogs are so flooded every day with new stuff, and you do see people pop up over and over, and to the point where you're like, shit, like I gotta check this person out. Or what happens a lot is, it seems like every major rapper does. Every major guy rapper does do a good job at giving like these key. Well, I don't want to say giving. I want to say female rappers hop on big songs or big albums and they steal the show. And one verse can keep them, you know, in your mental Rolodex forever.
Right.
You know.
We were just talking about like. Dude, Foxy Brown on the Firm album, and most notably, like my favorite song is Affirmative Action. Her verse, she's on a song with AZ,
right?
And I'm not sure if Nas has I think he does have a verse on that song. He might not. But her verse is the best verse on that fucking record.
Right.
Because she throws like math problems and bricks and kilos and going this way before I get the other. And it's an amazing rap verse. Now, for a woman, it's an amazing rap verse.
I mean, you hear the story about Kanye, you know, when he did Monster. He was like, I almost didn't put that song on my album. It was
embarrassing.
Because Nicki bodied everyone on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then it's like even the ones that don't become famous, like on Acid Rap on Chance the Rapper's tape, there's a song called Lost, and it has her name's No Name Gypsy, and she actually just changed it to No Name because she decided the Gypsy thing was not cool. And it's just, you know, her showing up on that one song is enough that I'm like constantly checking, like, okay, has she put out like a body of work yet?
Right.
And yeah, it's unfortunately stuff really has to make it to either Dat Piff in like a big collection
like a platform,
or to Spotify. Yeah, because I'll go to SoundCloud and keep checking up on these people and I'll listen, but it's like SoundCloud isn't my regular thing, and neither are just you know, a blog post with a one-off song. So I'm always kind of waiting for that bigger body of work for people who I can tell right away that I'm like, this is you know, they're one of a kind. Yeah, she's one. No Name Gypsy. Childish Gambino did this. His last thing was a mixtape, and he grabbed a song from this. Her name's Carrie Foch from Alabama. Pretty cool. Like really young. The song was called No Small Talk, and he just did one of those things where you grab the song and you kind of do a verse, and then you put it on your own tape. She's another one. Like I'm waiting for the full thing to come out, and hope, you know, I always hope these make some actual waves.
Like the thing that the reason why I've been drawn to the ladies more so than the guys right now is I feel like they are, because they're women, they have to be so much better, so much more different. They have to separate themselves and so much just to get over the stigma of the fact that I am a woman MC. I feel like that has developed so much more creativity out of them. When you think of like a Lady Leisha from the UK and her like straight Queen speeches, like, you know, I think Queen Speech 4 was the one that wound up on like some kind of a mobile commercial. And like, and then Cardi B remixed it and did No Cheap Weaves to it. But like, she's straight spitting for like 2 minutes. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you have Little Sims, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many, they're getting so much more creative than the guys are. The guys are obviously either you're turning up, you know, it's just like we can compartmentalize you at this point. You're not doing anything that's really out of the realm.
And a woman's point of view is fresh, man. It's always a fresh point of view. Like there's a rapper from Cali. I believe her name is Lady Snow. I don't know if you guys heard. And she's like a Mexican American chick, and she raps her fucking ass off. And she has the woman's perspective from that, you know, like LA Chicano, you know, point of view, and it is fresh. You know what I'm saying? And that's fucking awesome. And I was gonna say, when Zach was talking about, like, you know, when rappers let the ladies hop on their songs, that makes me not give credit. I do give credit, but it puts them in a different light where I'm like, yo, you're willing to share that spotlight with this up and coming woman rapper, and you're not even fazed by the fact that she probably had a better verse than you. That makes me think you're super comfortable with your talent and you're self-secure with your skills. So I think that's also a good kind of way to look at it. You know what I mean? And it's a win-win. You know, you put someone on, and then you kind of show the world that, you know, I'm secure. Like, she killed the song I'm on. Like, Kanye putting her on, knowing she probably had the best verse, makes him like, everybody's like, yo, he's mad insecure. Like, is he? Because he put that song where, and there's been other songs where he doesn't have the best. So, like, you know, I think that is a big point also, where it makes him, you know, in the public and, you know, to our eyes, it puts him in a different light.
With, you know, the only other rap feature on To Pimp a Butterfly was Rhapsody.
Yep.
Her verse on Complexion was bananas.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's one of my favorite songs on
and
there
she's
too.
the only other rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that is a statement, in my opinion.
That really? I never even thought
There's
of that.
not another rap feature. Who?
Wow.
Pac is on there, but he's talking.
Yeah.
There's no other rapper on that album.
Wow.
Except for her.
I've listened to it so much, and I never
but
even
you would
realized.
think after that, you know, she'd, you know, on her way up, and she's still like,
an uphill
she's
battle.
still doing her thing. Exactly. It's still an uphill battle. So, like, what's that hurdle that she's not? You're on the hottest Grammy-winning fucking album, hip-hop album of the year, and you're still treading water.
Yeah. Right.
Like, something, I mean, and I don't want to get too deep, but, like, it's...
Get deep.
It's a
Go
social,
off.
you know, it's still a social
issue,
man. I have a daughter. I have, you know, my wife and everything. Like, those issues matter to me because, like, you know, that's my kid. She's going to be a woman one day, and I want her to grow up in a better climate when it comes to women's issues than it is today. So I think, like, talking about this in hip-hop by extension is an issue that definitely needs to get better and still be talked about, you know, at a bigger forum.
There's a real, like, there can only be one mentality with both black artists, with female artists, with, you know, anybody who's not right up the middle of that, like, white rock band almost.
Right.
This one, Naima Supreme, she's kind of worked with Timbaland.
Right.
She's been going for a little bit, and in 2013 she put out a mixtape called "There Can Only Be One."
Wow. Right.
And it's just so true. I want to just say one more thing, which is, like, we are hearing Esteban, you and I have talked about this a lot, of, like, people that we have come into Fuse and FM here for videos, and they're so young sometimes. And we are hearing, like, a generation of artists for the very first time. Like, there's this generation right now, you know, they're probably between, like, 16 and 22, 23, 24, where, like, we've never heard this generation's perspective before.
Right.
And, like, rap is hard now, man. Like, you have to be so creative, and the beats are getting so complex and weird, and there's so many people are having, like, 3 songs within one song, and it's just like what the female MCs are bringing to that, and the way that they are such a huge part of this new generation, and some of the most shiny stuff. It's like, it's very cool.
Word. I mean, I just wanted to end off by just kind of rattling off for you guys at home, if you know, if you're interested in hearing some of the, I mean, here's just some of my favorite. I mean, you guys can jump in if I miss anybody, but Remy Ma is back. I said that on the last podcast, like, you know, the way we were introduced to her on the Pun Prize album, you know, he literally did not have a verse on that song. He just let her go off, and she's one of the illest. You know, Angel Hayes, I know, is one of Zach's
that's one of my
favorite
artists. Yeah.
Word.
Yeah,
I
she's
mean,
dope.
we talked about Rhapsody. Tink, which is Timbaland's, you know, a new artist.
I still gotta dig in.
She's a monster.
Yeah.
Little Sims, I love.
I'm going to see her tonight at Rough
Word.
Trade. Yeah.
Nice.
Dope.
22-year-old English MC,
Nice.
man, who sounds like she's been doing it forever.
She's so good. And I'm going to see Nitty Scott, who I'm talking about next. Nitty Scott MC. I'm going to see her on Saturday.
Nice.
Lady Leisha, we talk about Bia, who is Pharrell's artist. She's out of Boston. She's dope. Little Debbie, who for some reason I'm obsessed with.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm waiting till they have to ask her to change her name because it's gonna happen. If she blows up, it's gonna happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
be prepared, Little Debbie.
And that's just a few. I mean, we can't sit here and name all of them, but that's a good 10. We named a good 10 dope ladies who you can check out if you so please.
Yeah. Also, and if you are in the ages between 16 and 22, like we're talking about, check out like the old school, like MC Light. Like, please check out Foxy on the Firm, because I'm telling you, like, she's fucking dope.
Lil Kim was such a monster.
Yeah, even Missy's like, first album,
Right.
like
when Lauryn Hill decided to rap, she would body anyone.
Oh yeah, Miseducation's on it at my house every week, definitely.
And there's only 2 rap songs on that whole album, which pissed me off. I don't even like that album because I wanted her to rap her ass off so much.
Get over it.
I'm over it.
But, I always say like check out the new stuff, but like you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been, and you definitely need to check because they laid the foundation. I mean, there's a probably a litany of more, but those are the ones that stand out in my head.
And we'll talk about Nicki more one day. Like Nicki's gonna definitely get herself into an individual conversation here, maybe to your guys' chagrin. We'll see. Hit us up on Twitter, Back of the Class #. Tell us who you like. Tell us about your listening habits. Tell us what you think about this whole culture of what we're talking about.
All right, so these are the quick hits. So real quick, this week was the 20th anniversary of the release of the first Resident Evil.
Oh my goodness!
PlayStation classic.
Yep, PlayStation 1, Biohazard as it was on in Japan, and that game set the standard of what they basically created the survival horror genre. Like if you played a game where you're trying to survive with fucking possessed demons, zombies, you're in a prison that all the cells are like open. You owe it to that game because that's the game that started. Like, if you love Silent Hill better, that's fine. And I love Silent Hill. I know Zach loves Silent Hill.
Silent Hill 2 is like the scariest experience I've ever had.
There you go.
My
like
whole life.
Even like newer games today, like Alan Wake and Outlast. Like those games would not be where they are if it wasn't for the first Resident Evil. Right. Did you play Resident Evil?
I played Resident Evil, yes.
And just for horror culture, like we talked about horror movies a couple weeks ago when we thought Esteban had died, but he was just in London. And it's horror games are right up there with horror movies.
Absolutely.
And if you're a fan, they go hand in hand, and because of Resident Evil.
Yeah. And if not, like those games are more immersive because you're actually controlling the action.
Yeah. Right.
And they did so many things like jump scares in video games were not standard. Like those jump scares in that game, they changed the game basically.
And the creepy atmosphere we were talking about when we were talking about The Witch and horror movies of. Like, we appreciate so much more in jump scares just when something has made you feel afraid for an extended time. And to be playing in a game and be that person.
Yo, can you imagine plugging in, like, some of these headphones that we play with now?
I wouldn't do it.
Back then.
Dude, I did it with...
There's
a game, it's free. If you have a PS4, I'm not sure if it's on Xbox, called Outlast. I played that with the lights off and headphones on. And even my boy, like we agree, like it gets so creepy and intense that sometimes you're just like, I can't do it anymore. like literally, like I was just like, yo, I can't. I was like, I had quick story. I was playing it at my crib, lights off, volume up. My father-in-law was in town visiting. He has a little bit of a heart condition, and he was watching me play. And he was so into me playing, dude. After like 20 minutes of playing, I was like, I gotta turn this off because I don't want, I was like, because it was that game is that creepy, and if it wasn't for Resident Evil, that game wouldn't, exist. So
I think you that's a great point now because when I go to my crib and I see my sons playing Call of Duty, but they got it on zombie mode, I automatically think of. I'm like, they've never seen Resident Evil. You know what I'm saying? My sons are 12 and 8. Like, double points. Like that. That's all that I hear in my crib all the time. These freaky, creepy. I'm like, they ain't even know.
Zombie mode on Call of Duty.
Oh yeah.
There must be some fussy people about that.
Word. Yeah,
no, they love. That's one of like the biggest. It's only on the Treyarch version of it.
Isn't it like all realistic kind of military sort of shit?
Yeah, but like this is the more sci-fi horror. Like,
right.
Okay.
This is a straight up nod to.
It's fun. Yeah, it's a straight up nod. It's fun. Yeah. But yeah, like I think, and you were saying like your kids don't know it. And most kids today probably never played it, and they've remade it a couple of times. They recently just remastered it, but I think it's a great experience, and I would love, like, my kid is kind of into video games, more handheld stuff, But hopefully, if she like, I would love to have her play that because it's a great experience, man, and it's like imprinted on my mind.
Right.
Yeah. Shout out to Resident Evil 2
Yeah.
also. I mean, that
dude,
took it so far.
that's my
forward.
favorite one. Like,
Yeah,
I love part 1, but part 2
really like perfected it, and Resident Evil 4 did very cool stuff too. So yeah, just Resident Evil, one of the great video game franchises.
Yeah.
Turned 20.
And I wrote a piece about it on Fuse.tv, so check that out.
Juan David wrote a piece.
That's me.
It's good. Check it out.
All right, we got to talk about this last topic. The whole pre-hyped movies.
Yeah.
I'm
done
scared.
right, done wrong. I'm sitting next to Juan at our desk today. Tomorrow, I'm going to see Batman vs Superman. He's like, I'm reading some of these reviews. People are not liking it. Like,
you are going Saturday?
Yeah, I got reserved seats, IMAX on Saturday. I'm hyped, but after like reading like a post of like the 10 most brutal headlines from reviews, and I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah, man.
And so like now I always have to be my own judge, but if there's 10,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
We're gonna do. I mean, I think we can safely say we're gonna do a real Batman vs Superman topic next week. We've been for a lot of shows. We've been talking about things right before they come out, but this time we're gonna like see it, talk to you guys about it. But yeah, just thinking about it coming up, and yeah, headlines and like the early reviews and stuff, that's its own whole thing too. But like what the studios actually put out and how much of it they put out, you know.
Right.
It seems like 4 trailers is about average for a big movie, for a big blockbuster.
And some of them like show so much where you're just
some
like,
of them ruin the movie.
Yeah.
The first one for Batman vs Superman from San Diego Comic-Con last year, from the big one, it was like 3 minutes long, maybe longer, maybe even like 4. It was so long. And not to just talk about trailers. I mean, trailers are great, like put out trailers, but I don't watch a lot of cable. And when I've seen it recently, it's like if I watched a lot of cable, I would never go see new movies coming out because they're previews, 15-second spots and 30-second spots every 20 minutes. It's like I would hate the movie by then.
Right. I mean, this is my thing too. Like, so what I've gotten into as of late because of my son JoJo. Shout out to Young Spoiler Alert. He's gotten me so into. Like, okay, a trailer will come out, and then maybe an hour to 2 hours later, there's an 8 to 10 minute dissect,
like a breakdown,
of the trailer and all of the hidden. But he'll either have called in while we're watching, or we'll sit down and watch the thing, and I'm like, oh my God, they've opened a whole nother world of information. Yep. So the information that you're being force fed on cable with these, all of these trailers is nothing compared to the people who are like the frame by frame, like. Oh my goodness! Like that's in and of itself like super duper overhyped. So not only are the studios hyping it, but like these YouTubers who kind of make a living on dissecting and breaking down these Easter eggs and whatnot. Like they go in for they'll take a 15-second trailer. Remember we were talking about how Spider-Man's suit was getting ripped.
Yeah,
Spider-Man was in the trailer for like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
and there was hours of content about his suit.
Yeah. The only problem I have with trailers is when that trailer came out of the Batman Superman trailer that came out like December, January, and it was like 3 or 4 minutes long, and I was like, they basically have away plot points, characters, the first moment you see Wonder Woman, what do you want to see that not knowing she's showing up?
I was thinking about that.
Like, why do you want to see that in the trailer?
Remember that scene and be like, okay, Wonder Woman's going to
like, the worst feeling is going to a movie and coming out going like, yeah, the best parts were in the trailer.
Right.
Like,
man.
Leave something to the imagination. That's my biggest, like, especially, like, I get you have to entice people to go see it, but there has to be some type of middle ground where you don't give away key like plot points or just key action scenes that you want to be surprised when you see it because it has a more lasting effect. And also like the trailers too, like I don't know if people know this, but I've read on several articles that the people who cut the trailers are not necessarily the people who are involved with the movie.
Right.
So like I was like, Kevin Smith on his podcast was talking about the Ghostbusters trailer, and he's like, dude, I'm not saying the movie is gonna be shit. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be good and it's gonna be funny, but the trailer was not good because it wasn't funny. It's almost like they showed what they shot first.
Wow.
He's like, I'm not saying the movie's gonna be bad. He's like, I'm pretty confident it's gonna be a great fucking movie, and I'm still gonna see it. But he was like, the trailer is not good because none of the stuff they showed was funny. So that's the other side of like, oh, well, we don't want to give too much away. But it's also like, it didn't leave a lasting impression on me either.
Right.
So there has to be a middle ground to where, most notably the trailers
But with the franchises, man, once you've established an audience and once you've established the fact that you're executing these right, like Batman has been done for the last 3 movies, it's like you don't have to overdo it. It's almost better if it was Batman versus Superman and we didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
Because now we know who the bad guy is. We know that they joined forces with Wonder Woman. We know that Wonder Woman's there. Like, we know too much. Like, it would have been so much better if we had never seen Spider-Man.
They showed a fight scene of Batman beating up, like, henchmen. Man. Dude, that's something I want to see, like, without having seen it before. Because now when I see it, it's going to be cool because it's fucking Batman kicking ass. But I was like, oh, yeah, that's the part from the trailer. Oh, here it comes. Yep, there's the one from the trailer. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't have as hard a time with the plot stuff because the thing I used to always say was by the time I get to the movie, I've forgotten the trailer. And, if those moments are great, I'm thinking about Jurassic World a lot because Jurassic Park is like one of the biggest movies in my life, and I was really psyched when the trailer came out. And I didn't look at every single little thing that came out, but there was some big things shown in there, and I still felt great when I saw them in the theater. But mine is just like general fatigue with just like getting pummeled with it for so long.
Right.
And I'm wondering, like, has it ever not fazed you guys? Like, has your excitement ever like grown in the face of this stuff or maintained?
I mean. For me, when I watch a trailer, I'll be like, okay, I'm interested. I have cable, but I don't watch it much. I just have it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to start a conversation, but I have it because I'm at the mercy of Time Warner. Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
You got like bundled.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't watch, and when I do watch my cable shows, like DVR, I forward through commercials, so it's not really in my face. Right. For for the comic book movies, like whether your trailer is shit, whether it's awesome or it's long and giving everything, I'm going to watch Batman Superman no matter what.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to watch Deadpool no matter what.
Right.
I'm pissed I have to watch it, though, man. Like, I just can't miss a movie with Batman, but I hated Man of Steel. And, like I said, we'll talk about it more next week, but... Ugh.
But, yeah, like, my it's never wavered because, I don't watch them as much, like you say, like, on cable. Yeah.
But then just, like, banner ads on sites and, like, promoted tweets... people talking about it. It can be a lot. Star Wars, I did okay. It didn't.
That's the last thing I've gotten inside out. Not even trailers. Like every time I go to Toys R Us, man, like
the supermarket. Anytime you went anywhere that had during that promo run,
they had Star Wars oranges.
Yo, come on,
I noticed that.
man.
But like most notably, like I go to Toys R Us like once every 2 weeks, like depending on how my kids doing in school. She brings me a good test, we go, and then I'm just like, man, this whole Star Wars aisle is still here.
Right.
And the movie came out 4 months ago. Like enough isn't like that kind of stuff. I'm just like, and I haven't seen it, and I might, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, but at that kind of stuff, I'm just like, all right, I'm done with Star Wars. Like I don't even want to see it at this point.
Right, you're super over annoyed.
Well, it's Star Wars season from now till who knows, so it's not gonna stop.
Unfortunately,
sometimes they get me though. Like I think this Captain America: Civil War might be the first Marvel thing I've gone to see since I went to see Deadpool, but before that it was Iron Man 2. That was the last thing I got.
Damn.
And Iron Man 2 was because they got me. Like I didn't like Iron Man. I was the only person in America who didn't like Iron Man, which kicked off all the Marvel universe. And then Iron Man 2, like it just looked cool, and it had like Mickey Rourke and Scarlett Johansson, and I was like, yeah, I'm excited all of a sudden. And Captain America: Civil War, I think I'm gonna get sucked in. Like I didn't even watch the last Avengers movie. I haven't watched any Captain America or Thor movies, but I just. Something about
they're all trash.
Something about
the first one's not that bad.
The pummeling is like actually gonna get me this time. So sometimes it works, but it's always too much though.
Yeah, with those movies, man, like I don't even have to. They don't have to try that hard, dude. Because the hardcore fan, like I said, is gonna see it regardless.
My favorite feeling in the world is going into a movie theater and not knowing anything about the movie.
I've discovered some of my favorite movies straight up, like showing up at the movies with friends and like being outvoted and going to a movie that I have no clue what any of this is.
Damn, that's never happened to me before.
And I like to flip my watch around too, so I don't know like how far into the movie we are.
That's never happened to me before. I never get. Like, It's everybody just wants to see the same movie. Just because I hang out.
Because you hang out with your like-minded folks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I got some weirdos. Of course, some of my favorite movies that don't have any black people in it, I would have never discovered had I not been hanging out with my white homies and like, we're not going to see Kevin Hart. We're going to go see this. And I'm like, but it's Kevin Hart. Like, I want to see Kevin Hart.
I like to really, really, like, when there's posters around everybody or, like, the actors, you kind of, like, have a gist. But I love to just, like, really see something that I maybe, like, heard the title a couple of times and heard it was cool. I had that going with The Revenant for a little bit, which I actually never got out to see. But I was like, okay, it has Leo DiCaprio. I've seen, like, one wintry picture, and I know nothing else about it. And, like, I got to get to that as soon as I can and just watch it with, like, I'm not going to watch a show. I'm not going to anything. And then I didn't get to it. But I love that feeling.
Dude, I've never had, like, The Revenant. I haven't seen it yet, but my father has been hammering me. You need to see this movie.
Wow.
Like, every time we spoke about anything, because my pop, like, he shares my Netflix account.
Right.
So I see what he sees.
Mine too.
And so he'll call me and he'll be like, you ever seen this movie? So and so. And I'll be like, nah. He'd be like, yo, you know, whatever. But with The Revenant, dude, like, it's like, he's been hammering.
Now, does he have good taste in movies?
Yeah, I think my dad's in action, like,
Right.
like when I was younger, he took me to, like, when he went to the movies, he took me to see the movies. Like, when we had our visitation after the divorce, we'd go to the movies, and he'd take me to movies that I wouldn't take my daughter.
Right. Yeah.
But number one, it was a different time. Number two, I'm a boy. And number three, he was just like, dude, we have to share this time, and this is the only day I have off, and I want to be with you, but I also want to see this movie. So, like, he took me to see, like, The Bone Collector and, like, shit like that. And I'm, like, 10, but it didn't, like, mess me up by any means. But, like, yeah, my dad put The Revenant. My dad has been like, "Do you see it?" And I'm like, "No, you have to see this movie, man."
I got the flip of that with Star Wars with my dad.
Oh,
because
really?
he introduced it to me as a kid. We went to see all the prequels. Those were the first when I was, like, a sentient person. And we saw when they re-released the originals before that, and he just won't go see it. And I'm like,
really?
I'm really mad at him because I'm just like, come on, man. Like, you got to see it so we can talk about it.
It could be that he's just, like, those hold such a close place to him. That
No, not even.
It? No?
He's just, I don't know what his problem is, but I am doing to him what your dad's doing to you with The Revenant.
Because there's movies I won't see if they Point Break, I'm not going to watch that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I forgot how I ended up seeing the Turtles movie that came out, the first one.
Oh,
because Turtles holds such, like, that's such a huge chunk of my childhood. I was like, I'm not watching that shit. And then I forgot how I got conned into seeing it. And I ended up watching it, and it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great,
terrible, but it wasn't great. You're right.
It's definitely, when those things hold, like, such a big place, it's tough.
You got to see the new one with Bebop and Rocksteady, though.
Oh, like, dude, Casey Jones, come on.
All right, guys. People are sick of us, I think.
Are you sick of us? Don't be sick of us.
If
All right,
not,
well.
Real quick, what are we listening to?
Yep.
Want me to start?
I call Not It.
All right, listen, man. I know this is a hip-hop podcast and everything, and I love you guys.
Spread the love around. Come on.
All weekend long, I'm listening to this new Gwen Stefani album.
Okay. Did you hear any of it?
I only heard the single.
I love her.
I love Gwen Stefani, and I loved her in No Doubt, but I love her as a solo artist too. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited to hear this new album. Yeah. The album is This Is What the Truth Feels Like.
Good title.
And I feel like after a couple singles, the first one was in, then the newest one was really good. I feel like she may have found, like, the new sound that she wants to go with, and I'm with it. All right. I love me some Gwen. That's what I'm listening to.
Go to Fuse.tv. We had a Gwen Stefani week all last week. We got a lot of good stuff there. Somebody ranked every solo song of hers.
Wow.
We got all kinds of good stuff.
Dope.
I cannot break The Life of Pablo spell.
Yo,
I can't break it. I listen to it every day. I listen to my edit. I listen to the original version. I listen to, like, the way it's on my phone. It didn't number them, so they're just in alphabetical order. I'll fucking listen to it like that.
That's crazy.
And also Hamilton, the same thing. Hamilton is like,
fair enough.
It just keeps, like, calling me, and I just want to hear, like, a certain song or a certain, like, batch of songs. So, yeah, like I said, I'm going to see Little Sims tonight, so I think she'll break into the listening this weekend. But
well, listen, if you can't get away from Pablo, shout out to my homies at Babylon Cartel. My homie Gianni Lee does these Kanye albums where he takes the samples that were in the album and has the full songs and just puts those into a playlist. He does it for every album.
Okay, yeah.
So check that out.
And the samples on this one, I mean, they're always good, but these ones are like,
And I love it because you get to hear. You're like listening for that moment. Like, oh, that's the sample.
Yeah.
And like, but you discover this whole.
You'll listen to
song.
one of these songs for like the 30 seconds of Drake's uncle singing a soul song.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna do that myself soon, so I'm glad it's out there. What's his name one more time?
Gianni Lee
from
Babylon Cartel.
Yeah. Lee.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna be probably bumping Tribe for the next couple of days.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm still waiting for this Ghostface MF Doom shit to drop. They keep releasing songs here and there. That seems like a pair made in heaven. So I can't wait to listen to that. I've really been getting into the Anderson .Paak album. I just like rediscovered them yesterday because somebody posted on Reddit on Hip Hop Head. Shout out to Hip Hop Heads because that subreddit they post like really dope shit there.
Take good care of you.
Yeah, so like I listened to his new album because the new one was, God damn it, I forgot. But it's his second to last one that I'm really, really into, which led me into his new one. And his sound is so original. So I've been bumping that a lot. So I'm probably going to be listening to a lot more Anderson .Paak this weekend.
Word.
All right.
Yeah, man.
If you have not listened to the Future song Wicked yet from his Purple Rain mixtape in January, that's going to be the commas of that mixtape. It's going to
Really?
That song is going to be going in a year, and it's going to just get bigger and bigger. It's Metro Boomin.
You know what song is really big on our side of the office?
What?
What is it? By Chance?
What?
Oh, yeah.
New By Chance.
Yeah, Bianca was repping for that a couple weeks ago on the show. Yeah.
Are you plugged in by chance? Yo, I love that record.
Great video, too.
Dude, the video's awesome. It's simple, but so, like, it's good.
On the beach, in the rain, $20.
Nice little dance that everybody can do, no
on.
matter your talent level.
Do you know one by chance? Yo, I love... Yo, shout out to Ray Schwimmer, man.
All right, we just hit you guys with all the good stuff. So
that's right. So look, if you're still with us at this point in the podcast,
thank you so much.
Then you love us, so you should subscribe to us.
Yes, please.
And rate us and leave a comment telling us how much you love us.
Yeah, and then every Thursday, it's back of the class.
Yep.
It's
Boom.
right there for
and of course, we're all on Twitter.
Yep. That's right. I am at Esteban Serrano.
I am Juan Con Queso. I'm not spelling it out no more.
Queso with a Z.
Yeah.
Z. And I'm at Zach Dion. Thanks, guys.
Peace.